Steel Curtain Network.
Por Jorgito! Going down! Najee Harris! DJ Watt!
What is up, Pittsburgh Steelers fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Steelers Preview. I'm Jeff Hartman, one of the triumphant trio. Joining me as always, Dave Schofield and Brian Davis. Dave, what's up? How's it going?
It's going. It's one of those things where life is super busy right now, but I'm just glad that I can finally sit down for, I think, the first time today and enjoy some Steelers talks with my buddies.
Amen.
My
Brian
good
Davis.
buddies.
What's up, Brian?
40 years ago on 6/27, I was on vacation with my family, and we were listening to Duran Duran, who had the #1 single, and the #1 album was only 1 week, Huey Lewis and the News Sports. Little did I know that 40 years later, I'd still be listening to both those artists, but I'd be hanging out with my best buddies talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers. You got to love it. And guess what? In 3 days from now, well, actually 4 days from now, it's July 1st. That means the year is halfway over. What is going on?
Yeah, and it's honestly hard to believe, we're inside a month now before the Steelers report to training camp on July 24th. St. Vincent College in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. Tickets are available. They're not on sale because you don't have to buy any, but they're available. So if you want to go to training camp, make sure you go to Steelers.com, get your tickets so that you can get in, get a seat, and enjoy the festivities. I do want to talk about some news because we always touch on news. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this because I don't know how much you all have been following this story. But since we're both in the state of Maryland, all three of us at one time or another have had to rely on NFL Sunday Ticket to get all the games. Have you heard about the verdict that just was handed down against the NFL, that the antitrust violation basically is ponying up billions back to the consumer? Now, I don't know what that means for people that bought Sunday Ticket. This stems all the way back to DirecTV having the Sunday Ticket package. But Dave, were you familiar with this court case?
Well, I knew that there was a court case about the Sunday Ticket. I still don't, even though I didn't know the verdict came in because I've been running around crazy. You guys were waiting for me to do the show. I didn't know the verdict had come in, but I don't understand the implications of it. I don't understand the implications of the verdict.
I honestly don't either. I'm trying to find out. Hey, I'm a selfish guy. What does it mean for me? All right. How much money are they sending me? If it's $47, I'll take $47. But still, how much does it mean? I don't know. And I don't know because NFL's already said they're going to appeal the ruling. And so it's probably going to head back into court. So I don't think any of us are going to see any amount of money anytime soon. But Brian, are you familiar?
Yeah. And I heard about a month ago that could possibly be about $5,000 per subscriber. I've been doing this.
What?
Yeah, I mean, with a 4.7. But that's,
Depends on how long you've been subscribing, right?
Well, no, I don't. I've been prescribing. I've been subscribing for 18 years. I've actually prescribed Sunday Ticket to my friends, and you should get this. It's that great. I love it. I can't live without it. That's the only reason I got DirecTV, because DirecTV sucks otherwise, and I don't have it anymore. So I will go ahead and say all of that. But 4.7 billion. There's not that many subscribers. There's a lot, but not many. And if you go ahead and break up 4.7 billion, that could be somebody calculated it maybe about $5,000.
But that would be phenomenal. That would be great. But I mean, I've been a subscriber, as Brian said, I don't know how many years. It goes all the way back to when I first got DirecTV and got our first house where I could get a dish on my roof. And the only reason I had DirecTV was because of Sunday Ticket. And I still have Sunday Ticket. I haven't renewed yet on YouTube TV. I'm glad I didn't. I think that price might be changing a little bit. So that'll be interesting how they handle this. But just wanted to touch on that to see if you are. Dave, what are you going to say?
Yeah, I didn't renew yet either, even though the deadline passed for the biggest savings apparently. And I'm like, but they didn't make a big deal about it. I wonder if they're waiting for this ruling is why it wasn't a lot. I wasn't spammed a lot about, well, renew now, blah, blah, blah. So my thing is, last year was the first year I ever did it. Yeah. Is that going to benefit me at all?
You would just have less money, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. So, I mean, is it basically they're going to have to change it now going forward, starting the season?
That's the thing. There were reports in one of the, I don't know who it was that took the stand and said that there was talk of the NFL being offering, or some of the people wanted to offer single team subscription.
I've been saying that
ESPN
forever.
Yeah.
I think they would.
Yeah,
They
you're
would
right. ESPN wanted to do that, and the NFL said no.
the price. If it was half the price of what Sunday Ticket is now, I would pay half price for just Steelers in a heartbeat. And I think they would get. I've said this, I think, on this, even on this show before in years past. I think they would get 5 times the subscribers if it was half the price, but just for the team you wanted.
Well, I get that, but you know what the NFL says, Dave? There's the people like yourself. They're like, you know what? I'll find somewhere to go. Are few and far between. There's more Daves and Jeffs or Brians and Jeffs out there that say, if I got to get the whole NFL package, I'm going to get the whole NFL package because I want to watch Steelers. So they're going to maximize their money that way instead of offering the lesser valued package. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. So it's interesting. And I agree with Afton where she said, I'm still salty that Sunday Ticket doesn't guarantee you get every game, because it doesn't. You're paying hundreds of dollars. And that means that if you don't have a Netflix subscription,
I won't get the
Sunday Netflix games.
Or,
If you don't have Amazon Prime, same. Like, so that is frustrating for sure. And I'm going to see. I decided I'm glad I waited. Something told me to just wait. So we'll see how that pans out. But we don't want to talk about antitrust lawsuits or anything like that anymore. Let's talk about the Steelers and as they rank in the AFC North. And I felt this was Brian's idea, and he's going to run the show. But I thought this was a perfect time to do this, because when you think about it, we're inside a month of training camp. The vast majority of moves are done. Yes, there might still be some moves, and they still might sign a player or two, but the vast majority of moves across the league are done. Most teams are pretty much getting ready for training camp. So I thought it's a good time that we could really kind of analyze the division, see where the Steelers rank by position. So with that being said, I'm going to throw it over to Brian, and I thought it was appropriate that I said, with that being said, the only thing I could add is we're going to break down the fourth wall if we're playing that drinking game. So that
you know what's funny then?
I'm toasted already.
So I am away on business, and I have to do presentations. And I was just downstairs practicing for my big certification. That's tomorrow. And you know how many times I said to the fake doctor, with that being said, and I kept on seeing you guys in my head. I'm like,
well, and that's why you were already talking about 18 years of prescription.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, you're not kidding. But hey,
Brian's going to be in the meeting. So let me break down the fourth wall for you.
I love the fourth wall. I love that, because I'm that guy. So you know what, Jeff, you're the t-shirt guy. You need a bad language t-shirt then with all of those sayings. You can put touchdown zone on there. You can put the fourth wall. With that being said, there you go. All right, let's get into this. And the inspiration for this is I'm still seeing a lot of national media out there saying that the Pittsburgh Steelers are the 4th best team in the AFC North. And that kind of offends me, because I don't think so. I feel like this team has went ahead and made some great moves. Omar Khan, Andy Weidel, Sheldon White, the entire gang has put together a very good team here, and it's changed some things. So my thought was, where do they rank at each position in the division? Now, we're not asking you guys to tell me who is number 1 in the division, who's number 4, just where the Steelers rank. We're going to look at the depth charts based on our lads. I like our lads for depth charts. So let's go ahead into it. Quarterback position. The projected quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers is Russell Wilson. If we look at the other 4, the Cleveland Browns, of course, it's Deshaun Watson. Baltimore Ravens, well, we know it's Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow is projected for the Cincinnati Bengals. Where are you going to put the Steelers quarterback situation among those 4?
You got to tell us who goes first.
Yeah. It's interesting. Brian, you got
Jeff, go ahead.
Oh, thank you.
Jeff never goes first.
I'm going to say 3rd, but I actually am really leaning hard to 2nd. And I think that the only quarterback, if I'm going 2nd, the only quarterback I put above Russell Wilson is Joe Burrow. And yes, people are going to say last year in Denver and all this stuff with Russell Wilson, but the dude's won a Super Bowl, still threw a lot of touchdowns, won big games. And so I have him third, but I could easily talk my way into having him above Lamar Jackson, who, yes, does have 2 MVPs and yes, is dynamic, but has not won a thing since being in the league. So that's where I'm going to go.
Dave, I like that. I like what Jeff had to say. What are your thoughts?
My thought is third as well, because I am not sold on Deshaun Watson. I'm not. He still seems disinterested, and I just don't think that he's put together enough of a case to say that he's there. I would love to say that my hope would be Russell Wilson could play well enough where he could be the quote unquote second best quarterback. This one might be the only one that I'd say where I have everybody. I still have Joe Burrow 1, even though he missed most of last season. And even though Lamar Jackson was the MVP, I just don't, as a quarterback, I don't have him up there, because remember, when do we see him the most? When he plays the Pittsburgh Steelers. Who does he not play very well against? Because they have him figured out, the Pittsburgh Steelers. So my view of Lamar Jackson isn't as high because of when I see him play. So, but I'm still not ready to say, oh, well, Russell Wilson is ready to step in and be that good. I'm sure, I'm pretty sure Biggie Bronco's in the live chat right now saying, oh, come on, guys, Russell Wilson's terrible. He's 4 no matter what. I haven't even looked to see because I'm not even on the screen right now.
He said he's 6th.
Sixth best in the division. He abhors Russell Wilson.
But remember where that would, where Wilson would actually rank, even just based on his numbers from last year. So that's why I'm saying the Steelers are third.
I'm comfortable with both third. I really think that he could. I agree with the Lamar Jackson stuff, so I could even get on board with number 2. We're not going to go ahead and put him number 1 in the division. Let's go ahead and move forward to who Russell Wilson and these other quarterbacks will be handing the ball off to. And I'm going to go ahead and give 3 here. Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, and Cordero Patterson for the Pittsburgh Steelers. When we're looking at the Cleveland Browns, now we still have Nick Chubb projected as number 1, but will he be ready for the start of the season? You've got Jerome Ford and then Nyheim Hines. If we're looking at the Baltimore Ravens here at running back, we're going to go ahead and bring up Derrick Henry at number 1, Justice Hill at number 2, and Keaton Mitchell, who was. So I don't know how much you're going to see from him as well. And then Joe Mixon's gone from Cincinnati. So you're looking at Zach Moss, Chase Brown, and Trevion Williams for the Cincinnati Bengals. Dave, we're going to start with you.
Okay, who was it again for the Bengals?
Zach Moss, formerly of Indianapolis, Chase Brown, and then Trevion Williams.
My goodness, this one I think is really difficult to place, because you either think, wow, the Ravens really have something with because we're talking about running backs. So we're not talking about the quarterback running the ball. We're only talking the running back position. Are they 1, 2, 3, or 4?
Yes.
To me, I think that hurts Baltimore, even with Derrick Henry, because of how much their quarterback will run the ball. Maybe even, but you might get that a little bit with the Steelers this year. Just, I don't think nearly as much you will in Baltimore. And even though, do we have any idea about when Chubb is going to be ready?
No one knows for sure yet. There's still some people saying week 1 that they think that that's a little hasty.
Yeah. So that's why it's tough, is because I don't know where to put Chubb, because Chubb is the best running back in the division. He is. So where do you put Cleveland if he's not there? Therefore, I think I'm going to put Steelers second is where I'm going to put them.
I've got Steelers number 1. Steelers are number 1. And the reason why I think they're number 1 is they have the best depth. So you could say that Derrick Henry is a better running back 1 than Najee Harris, but I'll take Jalen Warren over Justice Hill any day of the week. I'll take Cordero Patterson behind whoever they have at number 3. Cincinnati, I don't even think they're in the discussion. It's between Pittsburgh and Cleveland for number 1. And if Nick Chubb is not 100% or not ready by week 1, Give me the Steelers. I think they're number one in terms of running backs.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and side with Jeff on this one. I like him at number one as well.
All right.
Wide receivers, who is catching the ball? This is going to be a toughie. George Pickens. We're looking at George Pickens, Van Jefferson.
I was going to say, what order are you going to go in there, Brian? That's going to be interesting how you decide that.
Well, the way I'm doing it is I'm just doing it left wide receiver, right wide receiver, and slot wide receiver according to our lads. Okay. So George Pickens, Van Jefferson, and Roman Wilson are projected. If we go to Cincinnati, you know that Amari Cooper is first there, Elijah Moore, then Jerry Jeudy. Let's head on over to your Baltimore Ravens, Zay Flower, Rashad Bateman, and Nelson Aguilar. Ooh. And Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Trenton Irwin, a name I'm not very familiar with.
He played for them last year, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, he was in 19. He was drafted by San Francisco in 19. So, gentlemen, I'm going to start with Jeff Hartman here. What do you got?
It's third or fourth for me. I'm going to go third. I actually like them better than the Ravens receivers, and that's even with. I do hate the Ravens, just to make that very clear. But that's even with Van Jefferson. I think Van Jefferson could have a good year for Pittsburgh, and it reports out of mini camp that is, are positive for him. Calvin Austin maybe stepping up. George Pickens, I think, is that guy. The question is can someone else step up besides him? And so you just named off, Zay Flowers, pretty good receiver. And then Rashad Bateman, and who was the third?
Nelson Aguilar.
Okay. Third or fourth. That's where I'm going with Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Davey.
Tell me Cleveland's one more time.
Amari Cooper wants a new contract. He hasn't been there for anything, so let's keep that in mind.
But it's Amari Cooper,
Elijah Moore, and Jerry Jeudy.
Okay, yeah, that's right. I couldn't remember who the second one was. Okay, so yeah, I have the Steelers third with them and the Ravens bringing up the bottom. I'm not impressed with the Ravens because you're like, oh well, Zay Flowers is good. So is George Pickens. Well, the other guys, Bateman, we'll see. But a lot of the stuff with the Steelers we'll see. So it's really a toss-up between third and fourth between those two. I don't think either of them are all that impressive.
I'd rather have almost 60-year-old Jason Bateman as my wide receiver than Rashad. As far as number one goes, I know we're not ranking them, but man, that Cleveland and Cincinnati, Ohio, they have the wide receivers. Cleveland might be the best among those three, but the Steelers, I'm putting them at third. I don't like the Ravens here at wide receiver. I think they've taken a hit.
Yeah.
All right. Continue with receiving players, but also linemen. Let's go to the tight end. We're only going to look at one here, the number one guy, Pat Freiermuth in Pittsburgh. In Cleveland, this guy seems like he has just been there forever, and they've been wanting him out of there forever, and he keeps on hanging on. David Njoku. In Baltimore, it's Mark Andrews. And then in Cincinnati, it's Mike Gesicki, who just came over from New England.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Miami, right? That's where he really did.
I'm sorry. He was drafted by New England.
Yeah, huh?
No, he was drafted by Miami. He was drafted by Miami. He was in New England last.
He became known through the Dolphins. He was with the Patriots last year, but wasn't really known across the league for tearing up. He's known more for being with the Dolphins in the years ahead of that. That's why
we've got two Penn State Nittany Lions in this division at tight end. So, Dave, who do you got?
Let's see. The problem is, am I looking at what Pat Freiermuth could be, or am I looking at how the Steelers have utilized him in the past? Because there's a huge disconnect there. That's what makes this one difficult. He's not ahead of Mark Andrews. I'm sorry. He's not. I don't know how much Njoku has left, so that one's pretty close. And I'm going ahead of Gesicki coming in to see if he can revive anything with the Bengals where he could. I'm just saying for now, I don't have a lot of faith that that's the case. So I'm really torn between putting him second or third.
Yeah, I'm going to go second. Every time David Njoku plays against the Steelers, he's good for like 4 drops. So I want to call him Clanks because I don't think he can catch. But Mark Andrews is the cream of the crop in terms of a two-way tight end. And for a guy that big, getting open as much as he does, the hands that he has, like he's a phenomenal player. So for me, I'm going to say I'll have him second.
Yeah, I'm going second as well, fellas. The offensive line is going to go ahead and round out the offense. So I'm just going to go from left to right. Broderick Jones, Isaac Seumalo, Zach Frazier, James Daniels, and Troy Fautanu. This is projected from our lads. So there's 2 rookies starting on the offensive line, 3 rookies starting on the entire offense if you throw in Roman Wilson. So, Jeff, you're next.
You got to run down the other teams?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the other
Oh,
lines.
yeah. I guess I should do that, shouldn't I? Jedrick Wills Jr. for the Browns, Joel Bitonio, Ethan Posick, Wyatt Teller, and Jack Conklin. That's solid. Ronnie Stanley in Baltimore, Andrew Voorhees, not Jason Voorhees' dad from Friday the 13th, by the way. Tyler Linderbaum, Ben Cleveland, and Roger Rosengarten. And then let's go to Cincinnati. Orlando Brown Jr., Cordell Volson, Ted Karras, Alex Kappa, and Trent Brown.
I think just based on the fact that the Steelers have so many young players, and I say young players on purpose because Broderick Jones is still a really young player and was very inexperienced last year. I'm saying third at the highest, and I wouldn't be shocked if most people have him fourth, but that doesn't mean that that's where they would end the year. I hope that makes sense.
Yes.
So that's where I'm going to go, third or fourth.
David.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm looking as well. It's different when you break it down, run blocking and pass blocking. Cleveland's solid, although the Steelers technically ranked higher than them last year. I would put them ahead of the Bengals, and I don't know where to separate them with the Ravens right now. What makes it so tough is the lineup that you read. I believe at the end of the season, barring injury, when you go back and Pro Football Reference lists who started the season, they look at who started the most games. I think that's going to be your starting lineup for 2024, but I don't believe that's going to be your starting lineup to start 2024. So that's the other thing you have to look at and how that will evolve. I can't put them. I pretty much agree with Jeff. I don't know where else to put them right now because we still aren't even sure. I mean, my goodness, we're most sure about the guards right now. Otherwise, we're not sure how soon they'll play Frazier. Hopefully soon. Hopefully he grabs the job. And we don't know how the tackle stuff's going to shake out and which side Jones is going to be on to start. But it's really more about how they finish. So that's what I'm going to do for now. But I would not be shocked if by the end of the year we're discussing the Steelers' offensive line being, jockeying for the top spot in the division just because if they could really bring it together with that young group.
This is a future number 1, but right now I've got to go number 4.
Okay.
It's time to go defense, guys. Let's flip.
Or are we going to break first?
We could take a break if you want.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
I thought we were doing this and then going on.
Oh, okay.
Bring the subject, but
Press
keep going, Brian. Keep
on.
going. Keep going.
Right. You know what? Let's go ahead and take a break. So we will be back right after this here on Steel Curtain Network. Stick around for the second half as we take care of the defense. All right, we are back. Jeff, take over.
We're back and we're ranking the Steelers amongst the rest of the AFC North. And so we're not ranking the entire division. We're just ranking where the Steelers rank in the AFC North. We've already done the offense. Now we look at the defense. This is going to be interesting because, well, the AFC North is known for their defense. So this is going to be a fun one. Brian, where do you want to start?
All right, we're going to go with the defensive line. And for the Pittsburgh Steelers, we are going to start with Larry Ogunjobi. In the middle, Keanu Benton and Cameron Hayward. Let's go over to the Cleveland Browns. Now, keep in mind you have some disparity here because you've got 3 4s and you've got 4 3s. Zadarius Smith is back at left defensive end.
He's an edge rusher, isn't he?
He is considered on the defensive line at left defensive end. Dalvin Tomlinson, left defensive tackle. Shelby Harris, right defensive tackle. And then Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
So they've got.
So it's only the middle two.
This is a 4-3 defense.
Yeah. So you really are looking at the middle two guys. Because the other two guys would be edge rushers.
But it's a 4-3. So
So we're not going to look at edge rushers as being their own group. We're not going to put Myles Garrett and TJ Watt in the same category.
I wasn't going to. I didn't think of this when we're looking at a 4-3, but we can go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and look at the defensive.
So we'll just say defensive interior, whether
Okay.
it's a 3-4 or 4-3.
Okay, there you go. I didn't think that far.
Yeah.
I was just looking at disparity.
Yeah. Sorry.
Dalvin Tomlinson and Shelby Harris.
Mm-hmm.
With the Baltimore Ravens, we are going to go ahead and bring in these gentlemen here.
They should be a 3-4, right?
Yes. Broderick Washington, Michael Pierce, Justin Madubuike is back.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the Cincinnati Bengals, and they are a 4-3. So we're going to look at BJ Hill and Sheldon Rankins.
Where did
Dave,
where did DJ Reader go?
Wasn't he back in? Isn't he in for some reason Houston? I'm not sure where
he was the free agent last year. I just don't know
where he was with Houston. That's something we're going to have to go ahead and somebody look that up for me.
I'm on it.
Okay. So Jeff, I'm going to let you go ahead. No, Dave goes first on this one because Jeff started with the offensive line.
Okay, so for this one, I'm at this. See, this is kind of tough. DJ Reader is with the Detroit Lions.
Oh, okay.
Just so you know. So after 4 years in Cincinnati, he is with the Lions.
He started with Houston, I think.
Yeah. Yes, he did. And didn't he get hurt like the week before the Steelers? The Steelers played him again because we're like,
he was often hurt, but when he was healthy,
but I think he went on IR right before they played the Steelers because he was very good. Baltimore's always tough. And since we're looking just as the interior, I think I know that means kind of the 3-4 does have an advantage in this situation, but even if you look at it as just their top two, I'm going to go with the Steelers as number one still, even though a lot of people aren't sure about Cam Hayward. Yes, he was, we'll get a much better answer this year if he's really declining due to age or if last year was really just about injury. And then I think Keanu Benton is just the sky's the limit. So if you're talking about, not being in base defense all that often, and you're talking about Benton and Ogunjobi kind of being the other guy with Cam Hayward, that's a pretty solid lineup in my eyes. And even though I don't know that the Steelers, as we talked about this morning on Pittsburgh Standard Time, that we don't think that they really improved at this position, it's one of those that the Steelers have been good at for a while. So I'm actually, shockingly, I'm probably wrong here, but I'm going one.
If we're just doing the interior, I agree. And I think it's because, Cam Hayward, he was the guy for a long time, but Keanu Benton is the up and coming guy. And I think the jump he's going to make this year in 2024 is going to be noticeable. And it's going to take the burden off of a player like Larry Ogunjobi, who was spotty at best last season. And Cam won't have to be required to do everything. So again, just talking about the interior, I like the Steelers as one.
Yeah, but you do have to admit Baltimore's is really good too.
Oh, they are. Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah.
Baltimore's is very solid. I can probably go 1 or 2 here. With ease. So let's go ahead and look at the edge rushers.
One. Sorry. I don't even care what you say. One. No, go ahead.
All right. Dave's going to take over the show. I think, my gosh.
Oh, no, just wait till we actually get to break it down a little bit. I'm sorry. I needed you to have Myles Garrett and TJ Watt together.
All right.
Give your answer, and then I'll go off.
This added 2 more categories because now I'm going to break up the linebackers, David.
No, you don't.
All
It's just linebackers.
All right.
It's off-ball linebackers.
Good gravy. All right. TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Myles Garrett and Zadarius Smith for the Cleveland Browns. Let's go ahead and look at the Baltimore Ravens, and we're going to go with Odafe Owe and Kyle Van Noy. And the Cincinnati Bengals, Trey Hendrickson is back, and Sam Hubbard on the other side. This one, wow. Talent.
Yeah, no, the AFC North is good. They are. They're all good.
Jeff, it's on you, buddy.
All right. So Steelers 1, Browns 2. I'll even go Bengals 3, Ravens 4. I'm not a big Odafe Owe guy. Kyle Van Noy. Nah. And then if you even want to throw in like the depth that the Steelers have, I think Nick Herbig, like I mentioned with Keanu Benton, is in for a big year this year as well. So I like the Steelers 1. TJ Watt, people love to crap on the guy. All he does is rack up close to 20 sacks a season the last few years. So I don't. People say he's going to drop off. I'll believe it when I see it. I think TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith, I expect big things from him. He only had 7.5 sacks last year, I believe. That's not enough when TJ Watt's getting all that attention. But I think still, it's Pittsburgh 1, Cleveland 2.
All right, David, where are you going?
Where do you think? It's the Steelers. They're number 1 by far. And here's the thing. If it wasn't for PFF propping up Myles Garrett, I'm going to say it, and the Browns fans and fans of anyone else outside of the Steelers are going to hate it. And I don't care because chances are it's only Steelers, well, mostly Steelers fans listening here. And if you don't like it, too bad. Myles Garrett is closer to Alex Highsmith than he is to TJ Watt.
I believe that.
All right. I have no problem with that.
Let me unscrew my mic so I can drop it.
I'm not going against you guys on that one. I'm not going against anybody on that one. I don't have time to read the emails. But no, I definitely agree with that.
I mean, both the Steelers outside linebackers, if you want to look at PFF, who loves Myles Garrett, I mean, yeah, they had TJ Watt 5, which is ridiculous, and Alex Highsmith 10. They're both in the top 10 in the entire NFL. They're the best duo in the NFL, not just the AFC North.
PFF is, to me, they're a vacuum cleaner. They both suck and blow. So let's keep on going.
Old timing type.
So let's go
timing vacuum.
Let's go inside. The Steelers made a big jump here. You got Patrick Queen and a Landon Roberts, who I still have a man crush on him. Let's go ahead and look at Jordan Hicks in the middle for the
for the Browns, there should actually be 3 of them.
Yeah. So that's so confusing to me. Okay, we've got JOK, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Yep. Jordan Hicks and Devin Bush is back in the division, baby.
They think he's going to be the starter. Yikes.
Roquan Smith and Trenton Simpson.
They just knocked them to 4th. No.
And then in Cincinnati, Jermaine Pratt and Logan Wilson. Ooh, the Bengals. So I think, is it me or is
so
Dave
who's with Roquan Smith
first?
Now? Who's with Roquan Smith now? Yeah, I'm up first.
Yeah, Roquan's still in Baltimore.
No. Who's with him in Baltimore?
Trenton Simpson. He's a second-year guy.
Okay. Yeah, he was from Clemson.
Clemson, I believe.
Yeah, I'm trying to think back to that. Yeah, to me, the biggest problem is being unproven with a new team. That I would like to say, because man, I'm going to steal Jeff's answer. Look at the depth. I mean, if Cole Holcomb's able to come back and play, my goodness, you're taking the Steelers' best linebacker from last year, and now he might not even be a starter, even at 100% health. Then you add the Peyton Wilson that you could just have him do. You could be very specific with what you want him to do his first year before you set him loose. Everything, my goodness. But it's really tough. You know what? There were the two Pro Bowlers at inside linebacker, because there was only 2. I'm pretty sure the way they do Pro Bowl in the AFC last year were Patrick Queen and Roquan Smith. Now they're on different teams. So to me, that gives those two teams the advantage. And then who do you think is better, Trenton Simpson or Landon Roberts? I'm going to shock the world, and I'm going with my expectations that I'm going number one. Because Devin Bush automatically puts the Browns at fourth.
Yeah, that's natural. I'm gonna say 2. I think Roquan Smith is the best inside linebacker in the NFL, and I think he makes other people around him really, really good. And I think he made Patrick Queen really, really good. That doesn't mean Patrick Queen is not good, but he makes him much better. And I think that Trenton Simpson is going to be really, really good next to Roquan Smith. So I'm going to go Ravens 1, Steelers 2.
Okay.
I'm really excited about this group, but I'm going 3 because the
Bengals are good too.
The Bengals are good. Jermaine Pratt, Logan Wilson, they're good.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Is Jermaine Pratt that good after what Jaylen Warren did to that poor guy?
Yeah.
That was the Calvin Austin end around, wasn't it? Where
I'm pretty sure. Yep.
I
think he
forgot
threw
about
him 5 yards. That's amazing.
That's what I mean. Because honestly, I think the Bengals are good too. But that one play knocked them down a little bit for me.
Yeah.
Okay, we are going to go an entire defensive backfield. We're not.
Okay.
We're just as a whole. So let's go ahead and start with your Men of Steel, the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're going to start with Joey Porter Jr., Deshaun Elliott, Minka Fitzpatrick, Dante Jackson, and Cameron Sutton.
Okay.
So actually, I'm going to break. I'm not breaking them up, but I'm going to do the same. I'm going to break them up for this purpose. So Denzel Ward and Martin Emerson Jr. for the Browns, and Grant Delpit, Juan Thornhill, and Greg Newsome as safeties for that group. For Baltimore, let's go ahead and look at Nate Wiggins. He's the rookie, right? Nate's the rookie?
No, he was second year guy, I think.
Second year. Nate Wiggins. No, he was their number 1 draft pick. Nate Wiggins, Brandon Stevens, and Marlon Humphrey. Then throw in at safety Kyle Hamilton and Marcus Williams. It's a good group, actually. My goodness. And let's go ahead and bring up Cam Taylor Britt.
He's pretty good.
DJ Turner II and Mike Hilton for Cincinnati, with Von Bell and Geno Stone, late of Baltimore, at safety for Cincinnati. Dave, I think you're up.
Yeah, that's how long it's been since the draft, because people that I'm thinking about, it's been a while since we were talking about them. Yeah, that was actually still this year. So you're right. Yeah, Wiggins is
Nate Wiggins was out of Clemson.
Yes, I remember him out of Clemson, but I was trying to remember. I'm like, no, that was still this year. It's been that long. Come on, bring on some football. This is difficult because to me, what defines when you're talking a 5-man secondary, what defines you is how good is your top couple guys, and then how complementary are the next 3. To me, that's what it comes down to. So the Steelers, I believe, have that in Minka Fitzpatrick and Joey Porter Jr., and then they have the complementary pieces that go with them. To me, you could take this whole thing because you're putting them all together. It's a wash for me. I think all 4 of them have both their strengths and their all right. Is this guy going to do all right? I mean, everyone I went through, I listened, like, okay, that's 2 pretty good guys there, and then 3 decent guys. Oh, that's 2 pretty good guys there, and 3 decent guys. Got that for all 4 of them. So really, I just throw my hands up in the air with this one and say, you could make the argument anywhere from 1 to 4 at this time.
Yeah, I'm actually going to say that if before Cam Sutton's signing, I would have said the Steelers are 3rd or 4th.
Yes.
With Cameron Sutton, you can make a case that they're first or tied for first, because I think he answers that many questions for what they want to do on the defensive side of the ball. Love Deshaun Elliott. I think he's an upgrade over Terrell Edmonds, but very similar to what they're going to ask him to do, which means that Minka Fitzpatrick will be in the back making plays. I like the Steelers. So I think they're first, tied for first, 1A, 1B, whatever you want to call it. I'd probably say Cleveland would be the other tandem with them if I was doing 1A, 1B, because I think Cleveland's secondary is really good.
I'm actually going to go ahead and say 1 or 2. Dante Jackson, I like him. as well. I
Yeah.
think he is actually very good there. So wow. I'm gonna go 1. I kind of put them third at inside linebacker. I'm gonna put them 1 in the defensive backfield, boys.
All right.
See, this is what makes this one so difficult, is that those 3 other guys for the Steelers are 2 guys that are brand new to the team and one that wasn't with the team last year but was in the past. That's what makes it tough, because we look at the expectations of these guys that haven't even put on pads yet for practice. So we feel like they're good. We feel like we got it. Now let's see what happens when the pads come on. But every team deals with that in different spots every year. So to me, in the secondary, this is one that could really pay off, or could be, this is their communication is really struggling. We got to see if they can get this together.
Gentlemen, do we care about the kicking game?
To do specialists? I mean, we wouldn't do long snappers.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
If we combine them, you got to combine kicker and punter.
That's what I was thinking of doing. So Chris Boswell and Cameron Johnston. And what do you call him? Bill Burr? Is that what you call him? If we go to Cleveland, they have Dustin Hopkins and, oh my gosh, I'm having trouble with this one. Corey Bojorquez? I'm not familiar with that gentleman. In Baltimore, Justin Stout at the punter position and Jordan Stout and Justin Tucker. And in Cincinnati, let me just scroll down here. Excuse me. Brad Robbins and Evan McPherson. So I believe, Jeff, I think it's your turn.
I don't know. I mean, Chris Boswell, I put him up there with the best, including Justin Tucker. I don't know anything about Bill Burr, a.k.a. the Steelers' actual punter. So I'm going to have to say incomplete on that one, because it's hard for me to compare when I've never seen him kick in a Steelers uniform before.
This is too tough for me.
Yeah.
Which is funny. This is one of the most definitive answers that I've had. I'm ready.
Go ahead, Dave. We're letting you lead the way on this one.
I'm putting them 2. If it would have been Presley Harvin, they probably would have been 3. But I think that they will at least have a little bit of an upgrade at punter, and it could be even more. But I'm putting them behind Baltimore because although I think Chris Boswell is close to the level of Justin Tucker is a higher level there. And Baltimore, with good old Wang Harbs being a former special teams coordinator, they just really emphasize on those 2 positions. They've been good at kicker and punter for so long that it's really hard to knock them off. I still think they're one of the best in the NFL. So even with a punter that was a rookie last year, I'm pretty sure he was. So that's why I'm going 2. I'm not, because to me, there's more weight towards your place kicker than there is towards your punter. And that's where I would have put the Steelers.
Bing, 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 bing. It's time for the bonus round. Head coaches, Mike Tomlin, geez. Wang Harbs. Yes, his name is John Harbaugh, I think, something like that. I don't even know his name anymore. I've been calling him John for a long time.
It's turned into a Herbig situation. You got to double think for a second to make sure.
No, I've called him Wang so long. It doesn't matter. Kevin Stefanski and the president, Zach Taylor. Dave Schofield, go first, please.
Okay. This one's tough. Stefanski keeps getting coach of the year. But sometimes I wonder with that roster, if you took the Cleveland roster and turned them all black and gold and put them in the different city, I think they would perform better than they do in Cleveland. I think you could say that I think you could even say that against Cincinnati deals a lot with injuries as well. I think there's 4 good coaches in the AFC North. There really are. So I'm going to say that Coach Tomlin is tied for first.
Jeffy.
Okay. So if I'm just going to base this off of recent success. And so you look at Zach Taylor has been to a Super Bowl the last 2 years. You look at Stefanski, he's won Coach of the Year 2 times. John Harbaugh was in the AFC Championship game last year, hosted it, number 1 seed. And Tomlin hasn't won a playoff game since 2017. So I'm going to say that Tomlin is... I agree with Dave. I think Stefanski's a little overrated. I have Tomlin probably right now 3 or 4 based on a recency bias.
I like Dave on this one. I'm going tied for 1. I'm not breaking that tie, but if the tie would be with Wang. I would have to put Wang up there. I've got to show respect. So always show respect to your Wang. So with that being said, let's go ahead and I'm going to throw it back to you, Jeff.
All right, so we're going to break down the fourth wall here, and
there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's insightful.
No, it's just like when Dave was on the vacation kick, and I was like, if you play a drinking game, and every time Dave says he's on vacation, you're going to be dead at the 5-minute mark of the podcast. But anyways, Dave, you
especially be going on vacation next week.
I know, that's right. Before we do that, let's iron things out. Brian and I will be doing the Steelers preview on Tuesday next week. The 4th of July is on Thursday. Someone will be doing some type of show on 4th of July at some time, but the preview will be Tuesday since the Scobros are going to be on location with that flag flying down in the Outer Banks of North Carolina. So, all right, Dave, you have trivia. Go ahead.
Yes, I have trivia. All right. Well, the first one is to really set up the actual question, but it'll get you guys thinking. Starting with the 2024 draft, where we have all players currently on the roster, and we also have all players from the 2023 draft still on the Steelers' current roster. Going backwards, what's the first draft you come to where there are no players left on the Steelers roster?
(2018)
GF?
I was going to say that or 2019. I don't know.
It is 2019 since the Steelers traded Deontay Johnson. Okay. 2018, they had 2 players from that draft last year, and Mason Rudolph and Chuks Okorafor. They're no longer with them. But looking at that 2019 draft, all right, there were, hold on, I got to count them up real quick. They had extra picks there. The reason they had extra picks was they had an extra 3rd and an extra 5th.
Where did they get those?
And that, and that wasn't the only place they had extra picks. And that was the reason it made sense for that to be the year if the Steelers were going to move up because you had so much more capital. Unfortunately, their big move up did not pay off. And that's why we now have the Cleveland Browns ranked last at inside linebacker. But if you look at those players, I'm still trying to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 players drafted. 9 players drafted in that draft. How many of them scored touchdowns for the Steelers?
Devin Bush did.
There's 1.
They didn't have a second.
In 2019?
2019.
Of course, Deontay did.
Deontay Johnson scored 25. These are regular season touchdowns for the Steelers.
And now I'm having trouble with the rest of that draft.
Come on, the next pick was Jeff's buddy.
Lustin Jane.
Yeah.
He didn't
have any touchdowns. No.
He never had a touchdown.
No, you were just trying to think of who the draft picks were.
He barely played.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm struggling with the rest of the draft here. Mm-hmm. Did they pick up a tight end that year?
They did. That was their 5th of Mr. 3rd and 5th.
Zach Gentry's had a touchdown. Gentry scored a touchdown.
Zach Gentry did not.
He never scored a touchdown?
Not a regular season touchdown.
He scored a lot, didn't he?
That's with Kenny Pickett now.
Okay.
I know that we make jokes about that, but we don't actually believe that was true, did we?
Hey, all I know is if I could high five Jeff right now, I would.
Yeah. So,
I'm a child.
But no, he did not have any touchdowns.
Okay.
So you've got 2 players so far.
Oh,
You actually skipped over one if you're going in order that they were drafted.
Who's the other 5th round pick?
There was a 4th round pick.
4th round pick. I know that was like Sutton Smith in the 6th round.
Sutton Smith was in the 6th. That's right, but he didn't.
He didn't make the team.
UG3 scored a touchdown. He was a 6th round pick there.
You are correct. UG3 scored a touchdown against the Buffalo Bills.
On special teams.
Yep.
But I can't get that 4th round pick for the life of me.
And that 4th
Benny Snell Jr.
And Benny Snell Jr. had 7 rushing touchdowns for the Steelers.
Is he still in the league?
He is not.
Really?
Well, let's just say, according to Pro Football Reference, they have guys in bold that are in the league and guys that aren't bolded are not currently in the league. The only ones from that draft. Oh, and the answer was 4.
Derwin Gray was the other one, right?
Yeah, and Isaiah Buggs.
Oh, I forgot about Buggs.
Technically, is still in the league, although he just got released.
Yeah,
the only ones that they still have still in the league are Devin Bush, Deontay Johnson, Zach Gentry, and Isaiah Buggs. No Lustin Jane, no Benny Snell, no Sutton Smith, no UG3, no Derwin Gray. Yeah, they had 4 different players because that was tricky. Did you realize that the 2 defenders each had a touchdown with the Steelers and they were there? Devin Bush in his rookie season, and then of course UG3 recovering that punt, which was basically the game-winning score. And who blocked that punt?
Miles Killebrew, wasn't it?
Miles Killebrew.
Who blocked?
And that was his first game with the Steelers, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe so.
I think because I thought that was his first year there.
That was after the TJ Watt hold-in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he had 2 sacks after his hold-in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Good stuff. Is that it, Dave?
Yeah, that was all.
All right. Very good. Brian, why don't you give us some final thoughts? End out the show.
All right. So we're ending June, ending the doldrums of June, and July's coming. But we're doing these shows here every single week, whether there's big news or small news. You all come, you all show up. And this isn't just like 30 of you in the off season. It's wonderful. And I haven't talked about our family here for a long time, but somebody brought something up in the live chat that means a whole lot to us. And he's been a part of our family here since the beginning of this whole thing, and it's the Jerry Cherry Band, and with all of his music. And I never talked about this on this show. I had a chance to see Jerry Cherry with his ABBA tribute band. It was Dancing Dream back in the end of May. I think it was Memorial Day weekend, and it was just a phenomenal time to go ahead and watch somebody that I've talked to so many times and then meet him and have my family meet him. And he gave the girls pics, guitar picks. He was just posing for pictures, but he was one of the kindest men I've ever met. And it's just would have never met this guy if it wasn't for our family here at Steel Curtain Network. So each and every one of you, even though you don't go ahead and play Mamma Mia for me, you're special to me. And if I ever got a chance to hug you or shake your hand, I would, because we can't do this. It's not even a labor of love because there's no labor to it. If we couldn't do what we love with our friends in our extended family, man, there would be a deficit. And we found that out. We were worried about that deficit when things happened with the other platform we were on. And we ended up with Fans First Sports Network and Steel Curtain Network. And we had a chance to do it all again and do it better. But you came with us. And we thank you. We don't do this again without you. So from the bottom of my heart, I'm sure I can speak for the other fellas too. We love you.
Very well said. Dave, final thoughts?
Okay, well, this is not going to be Steelers related, but it's something that I need to put out there. This is a very important weekend on the calendar, not for football, not for Steelers, not for sports. That's just because of the dates that it includes. Tomorrow is a very special day in my house, and Sunday is a very special day in the Hartman household. We both will be celebrating both 21 and 17, respectively, years of marriage as anniversaries. So I want to say happy anniversary to the Hartmans. I want to say happy anniversary to my wife, our wives, even though it's not their anniversary. You got to throw in Mrs. Davis there as well. Our wives are very supportive, and there are plenty of times that they have to deal with us, got to go do a podcast. Oh, breaking news podcast. Just got a call from the source. Things of that nature that we are constantly stepping away. Tonight was a prime example for me. I had 3 kids in 3 different locations and only 2 adults and trying to squeeze in doing the podcast and everything. And our families, they do make sacrifices. Brian, even he talks about that during the draft. He mentioned it this past week on the Here We Go show about how it's like, goodbye families. We'll see when it's over. But since it is the anniversaries for the meatloaf portion, the 2 out of 3 ain't bad here, that it's our anniversaries this weekend, that just thought it would be a good chance to bring that up and say thank you to our spouses that also have I don't think any of them have ever been on camera for a show, of course, even in the background, but they are a big part of this.
Absolutely. Could I jump in real quick? And I have met both of your wives. They are wonderful human beings. And my wife has got to be a saint to put up with me. But I wanted to add something to that. How many of you have actually edited a show at a restaurant with your family? I cannot. I mean, my gosh, it's been hundreds of times that I've been at a restaurant and I'm doing
written an article.
Yes.
Jeff and I could have all kinds of stories
of
the various locations of where we've written an article.
Absolutely.
Yes. Absolutely. So, Dave, thank you for bringing that up. Happy anniversary to you and yours as well. Time flies when you're having fun. So, all right, good show. We'll be back Tuesday, just myself and Brian, as Dave's on vacation. And then we'll be back into our regular Thursday time slot the following week. In the meantime, let's have a great weekend. Dave, why don't you send us out?
Hi.
See you next time.
Steel Curtain Network. Get it.
Everybody else gets a little tight.